Hello and welcome back to the Entertainment Vortex. Today we are at Brendan Theaters watching The Lion King. This one has been hotly debated all over the internet, and I'm here to say it's a mixed bag. There are some things that I think are done very well in this movie, and there are some things that I think are done in almost kind of like a lazy type way, and there are things that I think that are done that spit on nostalgia and childhood, and I think it's all kind of mixed together and it makes this weird grab bag of things. And so we'll kind of break some things down here. So to start with, we'll move through the positives. The animation style that they've chosen for this is so vivid and lifelike. Landscapes are absolutely gorgeous. It looks like it's filmed outdoors, real life, right in front of you. And like I said, the actual design of the animals is very engaging because of how real they look most of the time. I feel like a good majority of the music and the songs are done really good justice. I know that they did a few things differently with a few of those songs, and I will break some of that down as we get into the later parts, due to the benefit of this not really being something you can spoil, considering it's also the same story that was told 25 years ago. As far as the acting performances are going, a lot of them work really well. I feel like, obviously, bringing back James Earl Jones as Mufasa is a masterstroke. It is an excellent choice. He does change some of his vocal styling a little bit from his previous iteration as Mufasa, but I do feel like overall having him in the movie is nothing but a plus. I really enjoyed Billy Eichner and Seth Rogen as Timon and Pumbaa. I felt like they were super funny. I really liked John Oliver as Zazu. I felt like that worked really well. Overall, for the most part, I felt like Donald Glover worked really well as Simba. There were a few things that maybe some of his more high-pitched vocalizations seemed a little out of place, and I know that he kind of uses that as a moving from adolescence to adulthood, and that he does get that like deeper, more regal voice as you start to get later into the film, but it is a little off-putting at times. Like I said, those are some really good positives, and obviously it uses a story that's practically perfect. For the most part, it's fairly shot for shot. The original animated feature is considered flawless in many people's eyes, so you really can't do a whole bunch to change things. And because of that, like I said, they do a lot of shot for shot, but when they do change things, it either really works or it really doesn't. To start off with, like I said, continuing to move along with some of the acting performances, I feel like Beyonce was a little jarring for me, just because she has that deep, powerful voice, and in some of the spoken dialogue, it does cause some continuity problems, I guess. It just feels like she's so much older than Simba, and I don't think that that works quite as well. Her singing voice is phenomenal, but on some of like the more classic tracks, like Can You Feel the Love Tonight, it does feel a little out of place. There's an original track that I believe that they wrote for the film where she's singing over a scene of them running, and I felt like that song is great, but I don't know if it necessarily fits. I mean, time will tell. I guess digging into the lyrics and finding out a little bit more about the production of that song might tie it together a little more fluidly. And then, like, continuing along with that path, I don't know how much Ejiofor could have done to stand up to a great performance like Jeremy Irons as Scar. Like I said, I think that he did the best with what he was given, but I mean, it's an iconic performance. And on top of that, when you take one of the central themes of that character and like something that adds so much tone and adds so many layers, like the song Be Prepared, like I said, top 5 Disney song of all time, at me in the comments. When you take that and you chop it down and you turn it into this thing that it wasn't before, make it shorter only to add weird things later down the line that maybe necessarily don't service the plot as well, it's off-putting. Like I said, it's one of the best Disney songs of all time. It didn't need to be changed. It didn't need to be adjusted. They just needed to use it as is, give us that same, like that sinister green tone. Give us the song in its entirety and actually let Ejiofor flex a little bit, but they kept him in like this like spoken dialogue for a lot of it, and I just don't think it worked as well. Going back into the animation, like I said, the actual scenes are set super well, and because it's all done through computer-generated graphics, it is something where you can do crazy things with the camera you wouldn't necessarily be able to do in real life, which works really well in a lot of ways. But because you're working with all animated but made to look real characters, it can feel a little weird when they're giving spoken dialogue, especially in moments when they're supposed to be portraying sadness. That's unfortunate. Like I said, when you have something that's considered to be perfect as your subject matter, and you're not bringing that same level of dramatization when it comes to sadness, like I said, it's off-putting. I mean, everybody has this thing that they can go out and see right now in the comfort of their own homes that has all this nostalgia and all these feelings, and because it's animated, they can flex those muscles a little bit more. They can look sad. They actually cry, you know, which isn't something that animals do, but it gives it a little more feeling, and it makes those characters feel like they're actually going through deep sorrow and depression. And because they don't have that same, you know, facial ability, it just kind of falls flat in those moments. Some of the other moments work really well because it's kept more real, like when there's anger or when there's tension. Those things come across perfectly fine. When they're happy, those things come across perfectly fine. So in some ways it does work, and in some ways, like I said, it falls completely flat, and that sucks. But like I've been saying, this is based on some subject matter that is highly regarded by the majority of the public, and it keeps a lot of those things very similar. Like I said, being able to see the entire shot of the Circle of Life song basically done shot for shot in this more realistic style, it was very heartwarming. It was something that felt super cool to be a part of. Other moments, like I said, the Be Prepared song, or some of the moments between Nala and Simba as adults, felt a little weird and out of place. That's unfortunate. Like I said, it's a mixed bag. There's good, there's bad, there's indifferent. And I feel like at the end, the combination that you get of all these things kind of leaves me in a place of being a little indifferent. Overall, I would definitely say I'm not mad that I saw this movie. I think that it's a visual spectacle, and I think that it's something that deserves to be seen and deserves to be seen on the big screen, but it's so hard to not compare because so much of it is just copy paste in this new style. For me, I'm gonna say this movie is a 7 out of 10. The visual style is absolutely flawless, and I really enjoyed seeing kind of a modern take on some of the songs, but there are so many things that drag this down to where it's not something I could necessarily recommend, hey, go rush out and see it now, when you have a 10 out of 10 animated feature that you could go watch right now from the comfort of your own home, probably own it already. You're gonna have a better time watching that movie.
If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. We give you multiple videos every single week. And we have t-shirts available if you're interested in those as well. Those are available down in the description below. We hope you'll follow us into the Vortex. We'll see you next time.